Did you know that at the turn of the 19th century, cabbages played an instrumental role in the collapse of a monarchy? Yes, you heard that right. Cabbages. A revolution fueled by a humble vegetable sounds like an absurdity, but I promise, this story is as strange as it is true. So, let me take you on a peculiar journey into the past, where agriculture, politics, and rebellion collided in an unforgettable way. Welcome to history's hidden gems, where today we uncover the Great Cabbage Patch Conspiracy. Our story begins in the Kingdom of Eudora, an obscure monarchy nestled in Central Europe. The kingdom had flourished for centuries with its fertile lands and enterprising farmers producing exceptional crops, especially cabbages. Eudora was even nicknamed the Cabbage Crown for its agricultural success. But as Eudora grew prosperous, so did its ruling dynasty's arrogance. By the early 1800s, King Aldrich IV governed with little regard for his subjects, focusing on lavish feasts and palatial projects rather than the struggling farmers who toiled day and night. King Aldrich IV was notorious for his peculiar obsession with controlling not just people, but also, bizarrely, cabbage. Yes, he loved being the unrivaled monarch of his kingdom's cabbages. He decreed that all produce resembling cabbage was state property, ensuring that only royal-approved cabbages could be sold at the market. Farmers who defied this decree faced draconian punishments, ranging from exorbitant taxes to confiscation of their entire harvest. At first, Eudora's farmers reluctantly submitted to these peculiar laws, frightened by the king's iron grip. However, as years passed, resentment simmered beneath the surface. Imagine tending a crop all year through heat, frost, and rain, only to have it taken from you by a government official wielding a scroll that proclaims, "Your cabbages are hereby royal property." As King Aldrich IV tightened his control, droughts and crop diseases began leaving their mark on Eudora's fields in the early 1810s. When an unprecedented cabbage rot swept the land in 1817, dubbed the Great Wilt, it devastated the farmers. The royal palace, however, did not reduce taxes or provide any form of aid. Farmers who attempted to keep cabbages and disguise them with other crops, carrots were a common camouflage, were tried and imprisoned under the act of cabbage tax evasion. Can you imagine being jailed for planting cabbages? This gross injustice laid the foundational soil, pun intended, for unrest to sprout. Enter Friedrich Bauer, the son of a farmer turned revolutionary rabble-rouser. Bold, charismatic, and with a mind sharper than any hoe or sickle, Friedrich championed every farmer's grievances. His rallying cry? Cabbages are not kings. He argued that liberating agriculture from royal authoritarianism wasn't just about food, it was about freedom. At first, the rebellion didn't take root. After all, who would believe a simple vegetable could mobilize an uprising? But Friedrich seized the opportunity when multiple villages began organizing secret cabbage markets. Everyday grocers were becoming black market revolutionaries, sneaking crates of cabbage through forests and exchanging them under the cover of darkness. These secret cabbage trading cabals became symbols of rebellion. To make matters worse for the king, a wave of pamphlets spread across Eudora. Some historians claim Friedrich composed them, that exposed the extravagant cabbage banquets in the royal palace. Imagine starving farmers reading about the king hosting cabbage balls, where nobles dined on stuffed cabbage rolls while downing chalices of cabbage soup. Unsurprisingly, this fueled public outrage. As the cabbage rebellion escalated, Friedrich introduced a radical ideology: cabbage communes. These were self-sustaining communities where crops were communally grown and shared among farmers to sidestep royal taxation. It wasn't long before these communes grew into thriving underground hubs of resistance. They devised clever signal systems: paint a cabbage red to signify danger, yellow meant safe passage. They even had vegetable scouts to avoid royal patrols. Eudorian authorities, meanwhile, were scrambling. They underestimated just how serious Friedrich's movement had become. The tipping point came in the autumn of 1819, known historically as Cabbage Harvest Night. Thousands of farmers swarmed royal granaries across Eudora, reclaiming confiscated cabbages under the cover of night. These orchestrated raids infuriated King Aldrich. His royal advisors urged him to take decisive action. Thus, Operation Brassica, named after Cabbage's Latin family, was launched. Armies were deployed to crush the rebellion, but centuries of discontent couldn't be eradicated by force alone. Cabbage communes fought back with guerrilla tactics, using their intimate knowledge of Eudora's terrain. Armed with farm tools like pitchforks, they waged battles historians later romanticized as the Field Wars. One particularly symbolic incident occurred at the Battle of Kraut Hill. It is said Friedrich and his followers overwhelmed royal soldiers with a tactic dubbed Brassica Barrage, hurling rotten cabbages downhill, which created chaos among the enemy ranks. Legend, or perhaps exaggeration, claims the stench alone won the day. King Aldrich IV's grip on the monarchy finally loosened in 1820, when Friedrich's rebellion successfully blockaded Eudora's capital for 5 weeks. With critical food shortages and no cabbage left for royal banquets, peasants stormed the palace. King Aldrich was deposed and forced into exile. The kingdom of Eudora was dismantled, replaced by a farmer-led council. Friedrich Bauer was elected, not as a king, but as the first chancellor of Eudora's agrarian republic. Although short-lived, the republic instilled radical ideas about land rights and governance. Today, historians marvel at this unlikely tale, a society transformed through collective uprisings, all starting with a cabbage. Now I know what you might be thinking. What happened to Friedrich Bauer? The truth is as peculiar as the rest of this story. After stepping down from leadership, he retired to a humble farm. Ironically, he never cultivated cabbages again. Perhaps he had seen enough of them for a lifetime. So what lesson can we take from this wild tale? Maybe it's this. Even the smallest things, whether a person or a vegetable, can have the biggest impact. Revolutions don't always begin with weapons or speeches. Sometimes they sprout in the fertile soil of discontented citizens who refuse to bow to injustice, no matter how small or absurd the spark may seem. Who would have thought cabbages could change history? Next time you chop one for your salad, don't just see it as a leafy green. Think of it as a symbol, a quirky reminder of how ordinary people, armed with enough courage, can transform their world. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. There are more strange and wonderful tales hidden in history, waiting to be rediscovered. This has been History's Hidden Gems. Until next time, let's keep unearthing the extraordinary.